Inspiring conscious minds at conscious times. Welcome back to Troy Let's Talk Real, and I'm Troy. And if you're wondering, like myself, where is the PS5 breakdown review, then you're pretty much pondering the same thing that a lot of gamers like myself is wondering as well. While there have been several releases of the actual Xbox Series X sent to prominent, popular influencers, there hasn't been one PS5 sent out yet to these guys that we know of. And that is bringing very much concern to me as a gamer and a consumer of these products, that is there an issue that we need to look in a lot further? Let's get into it. Take a walk. Major video game influencers like Ryan McCaffrey, Austin Evans, Young Yeah have all received a preview Xbox Series X, the flagship console that Microsoft is releasing very soon, and I'm very excited for it. And each individual broke it down in their own way and gave specs and review of gameplay, so on and etc. And they were very favorable towards the actual console. But where's the PS5? And why haven't Sony sent out a review copy to these influencers? Or are they still under embargo? That's a very interesting question to ask, because this console is like 3 weeks to 4 weeks away from being launched into the wild, where everyone's going to be able to see it, everyone's going to be able to play it, and whatever issues it may have, they're going to have. And I'm not saying the PS5 have issues, but why haven't we saw a teardown and a breakdown of this console? I have saw the Xbox Series X UI, which is very similar to the previous generation. I didn't think that they really needed to change it, because to me, it was configured appropriately. For me, it was simple to read and I understand it. Now with the PS4 UI, it's fairly simple to me too. It's very understandable and usable, but it just lacked some flavor to it. It was like eating chicken that was baked, but it wasn't seasoned. Yeah, it's protein, yeah, it's chicken, and it's gonna taste like chicken, but if it's not seasoned right, then it's always gonna feel like it's off. And I feel like that's one issue that I'm concerned about as far as the PS5, is the UI. Is it gonna be user-friendly? Is it gonna be as snappy as the Xbox One Series X? Now, of course, quick resume is a big deal, and that's been a big deal last generation. And you kind of been able to do the same with both consoles. But to me, the experiences that I had on the PS4 and the experience I had on the Xbox X, the Xbox X was always more snappier, was always way more fluid, like in transferring from game to game, whereas with the PS4, it kind of took time, it lagged, and it was very noticeable that there was a complete difference in both consoles. But I get it. The Xbox Series S is a lot more powerful than the PS5, right? Microsoft has touted that trophy, right, in their trophy case for a very long time, including last generation. But we know what happened. Single player games, exclusive games on a Sony platform killed it for them and made them obviously last gen winner. But going into this particular generation, I'm still skeptical to understand that why isn't the Sony PS5 console revealed and we're actually able to see gameplay. I've saw gameplay on the Series X already of several games, and it might not be games that everyone's into. It might be last gen games, I understand it, but I've seen the text do the loading in the fast travel and the quick resume. I've saw next gen in the next gen console on Microsoft side, but I haven't seen the same thing on the PS5 side, and I'm quite concerned. I've been hearing that there's possibly some overheating issues with the PS5. I'm also hearing that the PS5 is just as loud as the PS4. Now, listen, if you have a PS4 Pro, it's still loud. I'm not going to sit here in front. But damn, if you had a regular day one PS4, it sounds like a 747 Boeing plane taking off every time. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but if you own a PS4, you know it gets loud. And I've never heard my Xbox X get loud. So I'm assuming that the Series X would not be loud either. But that's what I've been hearing. I've been following IGN. Shout out to those guys over there. and I saw Ryan McCaffrey's breakdown and his experiences and his thoughts on the console. And some people may say Ryan McCaffrey's a shield for Microsoft. And he might come off that way. You know what I mean? He's kind of one-sided. And the one side typically leans towards Microsoft's favor. But I have to believe, and I would like to say that, he's going to be honest at the end of the day. But I haven't heard any major influencer on YouTube share their thoughts, share video of them actually playing games on the PS5 or reviewing the actual console. Like Austin Evans went to Microsoft and broke down the console in modular ways, separated the GPU, the CPU, the solid state hard drive, and he actually showed you each component, and we still have not seen that on the PS5 yet. And I'm not even sure if you're actually going to be able to do that, because it does have like a funky, interesting design and concept to it. It does look like a concept console, which I like. I really like the way it looks. I'm not going to sit here and cap for anybody here. I think the aesthetics of the PS5 blows the doors off the Xbox Series S. That's just my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, these consoles cost a lot of money. And if you're going to get the disc version, look, they're going to cost you $500. I have no issue with that. But if you're like me, I like to study my product. I like to review my product. I like to read the reviews of other people experiencing products that I'm going to buy, especially that are pretty expensive. Like if I buy a car, I want to actually look at all the specifications, the horsepower, the torque, the miles per gallon. I can't do that with the PS5 yet, and it's very infuriating. And I'm not saying that just because I wasn't able to procure one for launch, because I'm still going to get a PS5. But I'm concerned that there's not one out in the wild that's being reviewed yet. And we're like 4 weeks away from this thing actually launching. So I hope, fingers crossed, that there isn't any issue, right? At the end of the day, that this is going to be a console that's going to perform as it is advertised. And I'm assuming that it will, because they have built up some last generation cachet with me. Their first party games have been outstanding. I've played, some would say, more exclusively on the PS4 than my Xbox X, even though that was the most powerful console. But the thing again that killed me on the Xbox X was that I upgraded to this console, but I didn't upgrade to any new games because they gave games that were just not up to my taste and liking, and that's for a completely different video. So I said all of that to say this. If you're like me and you're a bit concerned, which you should be, because these consoles aren't free. Microsoft, Sony, they aren't just giving these out. We got to pay for these. And we have an expectation as gamers that we want consoles that are actually next gen. Nothing is perfect. Things are bound to fail, especially when you're dealing with mechanical items that you're purchasing. But why haven't we seen a PS5 in a while yet? I'm not saying the average consumer. I'm not saying some celebrity that more than most likely has it, but are not really into gaming like me and you. Why haven't we seen what this console have to offer? Everything, if you think about it, we've seen has all been on paper. We haven't seen any real gameplay that's real on it. We haven't seen any type of UI. We haven't seen any type of backwards compatibility gameplay other than Spider-Man and the fact that they changed Peter Parker's face, and that's been an issue in the gaming industry for some gamers because they kind of like the old Peter Parker face. But what about the other games that are supposed to be coming out? I don't want to see 5 minutes of a CGI trailer. I don't want to see 2 minutes of gameplay. I want to see actual gameplay, and I want to see it in the natural environment, in the fidelity in which it was advertised. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the PS5 is going to be a disaster. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a great console. More than most likely it will. But we're about a month out. We need to see something other than previews and trailers and controllers, and we're talking about hard drives and solid state hard drives and how much they're going to cost. Forget all that. Let me see the gameplay. Anyway, gamers, I'm Troy. This is Troy Let's Talk Real. Please, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe and share it as well. Follow all my social media links in the description below. Guaranteed, You won't be disappointed. Peace.